Hi there, it's almost midnight. I just reached my goal for the day, so as promised, I am doing a little reading for you. Now, I did a little poll earlier to see whether people wanted to have a story that was sad or sexy or profound. And sexy and profound kind of came in neck and neck, so I thought I would do a story that is both sexy and profound, or it is to me anyway. I hope you enjoy it. Um, just to put a little context, this is from the very first balls to the wall sex party that Scott and I threw at Mission Control. So let me begin. In preparation for the party, we hauled two California king-size beds up the back stairs and laid them side by side in an area we gigglingly named the horizontal socializing space. We covered all the furniture with clean sheets and tucked them in neatly and securely. We put out bowls of safe sex supplies like candy in their shiny wrappers, piles of towels stacked by the beds with wet wipes, tissues, and an oversized martini glass full of latex gloves with a sign that read, "No glove, no love." There's no doubt about it, sex is compelling. When it's happening close by, you can't ignore it. That sticky, sweet, pungent taste of pheromones swirling in the air, realizing that conversation you're having might develop into sex right here, right now, does change how people interact. That coy side glance could mean so much more in a place like this. At the first kinky salon where we explicitly permitted sex, I buzzed with excitement and nerves. Flirting, making out, spanking, and the occasional playful grope all existed within a realm I was comfortable in. But what might happen tonight? Would I have sex with someone? All my friends were here. I had experienced threesomes and foursomes. I self-consciously played the exhibitionist at seedy sex clubs, but I never had sex in community, sex surrounded by friends. My previous experience of sex parties fell into two basic categories. Either they were overrun with single guys, circles of desperate men jacking off at any opportunity, or the gender balance was even, but sex completely took over, and being present without participating seemed awkward. Kinky Salon was neither. "What's your name?" asked a cute guy with blonde hair and freckles when I went to the bar to refill my champagne. "I'm Polly," I smiled at him, a little shy. "You're the Polly who puts on the parties?" He seemed impressed. "Yep, that's me." I imagined what it would be like to let this man touch my naked body, and I blushed. "Thank you for this. It's my first time here. This place is great." His blonde hair flopped in front of one eye, and he coyly tucked the stray lock behind his ear. I noticed the curve of his neck, gracefully feminine, and the broadness of his chest under his shirt. He kissed my hand, staring unflinchingly into my eyes, and my body lit up with anticipation. My leather corset felt amazing. I loved the way it exaggerated my shape and made me stand a little taller. I kept touching my waist and hip. That curve is my favorite part of a woman's body, and to experience it on myself was incredibly sexy. I'd attached fishnet stockings to the garters on the corset, and with knee-high boots and a big blonde wig, I looked like a bit of a whore. Sex fantasy, Polly. Red lipstick and perfume on my tits. Ready for action. Proud, feminist, powerful, and a bit of a porn star cliché. My favorite combo. The outfit I wore gave me the confidence to put his hand on my hip as I reached across for my champagne bottle. I dizzied with the swirling energy of desire as he leaned close and paused for a moment, his lips a fraction away from the side of my face. He waited for my lead, but he would have to wait a little longer. I couldn't disappear so early. "I have to check in with my volunteers," I said apologetically. "Can I find you again later?" I'm not going anywhere. He smiled to reveal dimples, making tearing myself away even harder. The evening progressed on a trajectory similar to previous events. Pre-party tension, volunteers arriving, doors opening, guests arriving, crowds reaching critical mass, flirting, dancing, cabaret. But then, something different. After the cabaret, people started fucking. Bodies packed the backroom beds. This was sex happening in a way I had never witnessed before. No gawkers, no circle jerk, no pressure to participate. Just a room full of adults doing the most natural thing in the world. I checked in with Scott and found him with a cute girl perched on his knee in the patio. I gave him a wink and a nod, our secret signal, and he smiled back encouragingly. I found that cute blonde guy and let him lead me to the back room. He lowered me onto the bed with passionate kisses. The room was lit with red lamps, just enough so you could discern the outline of the beds and the people sprawled across them like seals at Pier 39, playfully nuzzling at each other. Deep red fabric draped down in sumptuous curves from the ceiling. The music played loud enough to complement but not drown out the giggles, squeals, and moans that emanated from the crowd. It all became part of the same soundtrack, the throbbing bass line spliced perfectly with the ambient swoon. Bodies surrounded us. In my peripheral vision, I drank in the dreamlike apparition of their ecstatic intimacy. One of the red lamps backlit a rather handsome foursome on the other side of the room. A man with a shaved head and broad shoulders, a brunette woman on all fours on the bed in front of him. Behind him, a second man wrapped his arms lovingly around his gently muscled and tattooed torso. A redhead tucked herself underneath, with her pale, slender legs sticking out. The crisp silhouettes of their bodies showed every detail, how the woman on all fours took his cock in her mouth, how the second guy traced his finger around his lover's nipple, and how the woman tucked underneath gently explored the body above her. There were no unwanted, wandering hands, no staring eyes making me self-conscious. I became overwhelmed with a sense of pride. Fuck, yes! This feels right. It feels good. These are my tribe, these crazy pleasure seekers, these brave pioneers of love. I can see it in their eyes too. Something magical is happening here. At the end of the night, I curled up in Scott's lap on the couch in the lobby and a few of us chatted as the party wound down, when suddenly a guy came out of the pink room seeming distressed and holding a stuffed toy. "What the fuck is wrong with this tiger?" he asked, plaintively, turning its face in our direction. "Do you see its expression?" Sure enough, there was something very strange about its face. The cheap toy had been printed badly, and its mouth looked distorted in a weird angle, making it seem rather snooty, as if it looked down its nose at you disapprovingly. "I think it's judging you," Scott replied. "Jesus, I can't look at that thing. Can you take it away, please?" We laughed uncontrollably, trying to stare down the tiger and failing. "I feel so judged," wailed Scott, throwing the tiger at me. I held him in my hands and turned his face to mine, staring deep into his eyes. "It's like a test. If at the end of the night, after everything you've done, you can look into the face of the judgmental tiger and experience no remorse or shame, then you pass." I stared into his eyes and paused, contemplating the plush, sneering face. One at a time, we looked into the eyes of the tiger and either squealed and threw it away, or nodded and smiled knowingly. His badly printed, mass-produced face had unwittingly created a myth. Like the Sphinx of ancient Egypt, he represented a challenge and a gateway. It was totally ridiculous. And yet, kind of profound too.